Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm a senior as well as a fan of figure skating. This video is going to be a little bit different from my past ones, as I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences traveling to live figure skating events as an older fan and usually traveling alone. So, stick around. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I first started watching figure skating on television when I was a child, watching it with my mother. Then when the anime NanaOnIce came out, I started to develop more of an interest in the technical aspect of figure skating and started following a lot of blogs and Discord servers. I first thought about attending live figure skating events in person in 2020. When the U.S. Nationals was close enough to me and I was retired that it seemed like a reasonable idea. Before then, I had been a single mother since my 40s, raising 2 children on my own, and I didn't feel that I could financially spend that money on something for myself and not my kids. Also, I'm an introvert, and I was a little worried about going to an event where I didn't know any of the rules and I wouldn't know anyone else there. But in 2020, I decided to take the plunge. Nationals were within driving distance, the hotels were discounted, and the weekend ticket package was very reasonable. I minimized the feeling of being so alone by eating in more casual locations, and particularly in the hotel restaurant, since there were a lot of other fans staying at the hotel. I struck up conversations on the shuttle bus by asking other women like me where they were from and if they had done this before. When I confessed that this was my first time attending a figure skating event in person, 2 lovely women from England took me under wing, telling me about some of the things I needed to know, and we met up for breakfast on Saturday and Sunday mornings, which made me feel more like part of the group. I felt encouraged by them. After all, if these older women could fly from England to a nationals that wasn't even for their federation, well, I could certainly go to my own in person. So I booked my tickets for Worlds in Montreal that March. And then the pandemic came along and everything was put on halt for a little more than a year. So when fans were finally allowed back to events, for me it was Skate America in Vegas, I was very eager to go, and I haven't looked back since. So, what are the challenges and the rewards of attending events like this in person as an older fan? Well, there's the usual challenges involved in traveling alone, no matter what age you are, but particularly as a senior. You have to rely on yourself for everything, and there's no one to share both the good and the bad with. I've alleviated some of that by chatting with my children in the evenings and letting them know what kind of activities I've done, and by following along with other fans on Discord. There are the usual health and safety issues of traveling anywhere as a woman alone, and especially an older person. I've mentioned in a previous video about taking transit when I was in San Jose, and my worries about trying to take it back at night when it was rather dark. So you have to always be cautious about your environment and have backup plans to your backup plans for getting around. And as for health issues, you have to remember to bring any of your prescriptions or medications you might need. But there's also some unexpected things that come up. When I was in Nashville with the snowstorm, I stepped on a piece of ice and twisted my knee. Fortunately, I was right in front of a Walgreens, and one of the other passersby helped me inside so that I could get a knee brace. But it did make a change to my plans for walking back to the hotel every evening, since I had to rely on Lyft instead. Navigating mass transit on your own in a strange city can be challenging, no matter how old you are. But maybe especially if you're an older person who doesn't take transit very often. Fortunately, when I was in San Jose, trying to figure out how the bus system worked, there was a local who was very glad to help me out. There were 2 other women fans who were trying to figure out the mass transit system as well. So we worked it out between the 3 of us, and I had company on my trips to most of the events. Dining alone can be a challenge, whether you're in your hometown or in a strange city. But there are a couple things that you can do to make yourself a little more comfortable. I always bring a book or my cell phone so that I have something to read if I start feeling a little awkward or lonely. Also, when I was in Toronto for Skate Canada, I struck up a conversation with 2 other women who were there for breakfast, also traveling alone, and we ended up having breakfast every day there. We exchanged our phone numbers and text each other after every competition, and we are going to Skate Canada together. So that breakfast encounter has expanded my circle of friends. So how do you get started if you're an older fan who's interested in attending live figure skating events? Here are some tips. First, look at events that are close to home if you are nervous about traveling on your own. Second, if there aren't any host hotels, increase your chances of running into fellow fans by looking at less expensive hotels surrounding the venue. Third, wear a t-shirt or jersey or jacket that displays the logo for a skating federation or a skating event when you go to breakfast in the hotel. You're more likely to catch the attention of fellow fans and strike up conversations. Fourth, if you don't feel comfortable chatting with strangers, a smile and a nod or a simple good morning can be enough to get a return greeting, and that can make you feel a lot less alone. Finally, embrace being a solo traveler, no matter your age. After all, when you're traveling on your own, you get to make all the decisions: what to do, where to go, what to eat, and whether to forego more sightseeing in favor of a nap. If you have any questions or any tips on solo traveling, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And subscribe so that you don't miss my next video. See you soon.